Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. Here we are live tonight on our Monday night. So, how's everybody doing tonight out there? I just wanted to greet everyone tonight. This is going to be, unfortunately, our last show for the season. You know, the major networks got started a little earlier. We started, it got started a little later. We started a little earlier, right after Labor Day. And we've come up upon our shows. We finished our shows for this year. We're going to want to enjoy the holidays and get back into saddle in January. The second Monday night in January, we'll be back. Okay, so tonight, got a great young man with us tonight, Dan Allen. Okay, I should call him, but his mama named him Daniel Allen. So I'm gonna call him Dan Allen since he has that on the screen.
Right.
Born and raised in Philadelphia, been around the world, so I'm talking to Dan tonight because Dan has a very great story that I think will really get us motivated and get us out doing some things that we need to do in our community.
Right.
So Dan, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing this evening? And again, thank you for having me on. I'm honored to be amongst your guests of celebrities, community leaders, and athletes. And I'm actually humbled to be the last interview for the season. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, we got to shut it down, get some rest. If I don't shut it down, then I'm not gonna have my producer Tony. He's just gonna lay down on me for the rest of the year.
Right.
So this show has I think this is the 7th or 8th show of it, and for the listeners and the viewers, this show is an offshoot of the magazine, Urban Sentinel magazine. And what I like to do is sit down with individuals that I have in the magazine, or I eventually will have in the magazine, just to get that story, just to find out, what they're doing, what kind of noise they're making out in the neighborhood, So tell me, Dan, how have you and your family been doing during this period that we're in the country at this time, with these tough times we are facing? How have you and your family been dealing with it?
Well, it's pretty tough. It's a blessing because about a year ago, my wife was in Spain and I was in the United States. And so she was contracted about 2 years to teach school in Spain. But thank the Lord that she got released, because it would have been really hard on our family, because she would not have been able to come back when she was supposed to if she didn't get released from her contract. So actually, we're doing pretty good. And the reason why we're doing pretty good is because we're together. And I think that's what makes a difference. It would have been really difficult had me and my wife been separated for another year. However, Lord made a way, and he got us back together. He released her from her contract. She got a job here. She's a school teacher. She teaches 2nd grade. But overall, the only hiccup has been with my daughter, who wasn't going to school for the first 9 weeks. And then they said, okay, they can come back. And then 2 days after they came back, they sent everybody back home. But other than that, we're hunkered down. I'm a people person, so I don't get out to church. I don't get to see people as much as I used to. And right when the pandemic hit, I was sponsored, the co-lead for a group of young men and women who were building robots. And we had a robot group on every Tuesday night. And right when the pandemic hit, we had to cancel our robot group. And that was really life-changing for some of those kids. So I think that was the biggest thing that COVID has hit us with.
Yeah, I think it's been rough on everyone. You really have had to adjust your lifestyle with this pandemic, so it's been tough on everyone. So before we get into, questions, some other questions I want to ask you, I heard you mention you're a pastor, right?
I was.
Okay.
I was a senior pastor. How about
senior pastor?
That
okay.
Way? I started Lighthouse Christian Fellowship in September 9th, 2009 in Aviano, Italy. And my wife and I pastored a church where the word of God is studied, the presence of God is sought, and the power of God is seen. And we did that by preaching and teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ to the Aviano community and abroad through Believers United in love and discipleship. So yeah, I pastored an American church out in Italy for 10 years. Yes, sir.
So how was that experience?
It was a great experience. It had its ups and it had its downs, but I wouldn't trade one of them for the world. It was mostly a military community, mostly. So we would have, we had some Italians. Shout out to Patience and her husband back there, still in Italy. So we had one couple that was like solid and committed. That was Italian citizens. Other than that, everybody else was American.
Okay, cool. That's great. Hey, you got to do the Lord's work wherever you are.
Yes, sir.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing. So, Dan, I want you to tell me about your company, Island Homes LLC. Tell me about it.
So Island Homes LLC, it's a real estate investment company. And what we do is we try to find distressed properties or distressed owners. So let me explain that for a second. A distressed property is a property that has been run down by whatever. Something happened and they had to leave, or someone got old, or maybe they ran out of money and they couldn't take care of the property. So we try to find distressed properties. So at a discounted price. And then you can find or you find distressed owners, someone who's about to go in foreclosure, or someone whose parent may have died and they can't take care of the taxes or something of that matter. So we try to find distressed properties or distressed homes at a discounted rate. And this discounted rate is not like we're taking the properties, try to put something back in the people's pockets so that they can get started with their lives again. And then the second half of that, we'll take the property, either sell it to a developer who can fix it up and make it look better for the community. Or if it's a really good deal, we'll do that ourselves. And I'll try to find investors like yourself or people that I know that want to make a return on some money that they have in a bank, and we'll get it fixed up. We'll get the contracts out and we'll sell it to somebody, and that can be their home. And that makes us as African Americans, that makes us homeowners, right? And we bring up the value of other properties around them when we fix those properties up.
Okay. So what or who gave you the vision to start this company and follow the path that you followed with this company?
Well, it's funny. A couple of years ago, my wife said that she that we should start making a claim for ourselves. And then I started researching it. And one year I went to Philadelphia and I sat down with my cousin, and she introduced me to a guy. Well, she didn't introduce me. She introduced me on Instagram to a guy named Greg Parker out in Philadelphia. Now that's somebody you should have on your show. Greg I've never met him. But he is hardcore street, but he's one of the smartest people that I've ever heard talk, because he knows his business. Him and his wife, they took their real estate game over. Honestly, they find distressed properties, they fix them up. They own, they finance the companies with their own money. They construct the properties with their own money. They finance it with their own money, and then they sell them, and then they teach others in their community how to do exactly what they did. Now, he might not be for everybody because he's a little rough around the edges, but that guy is doing big things. And if I ever meet him, I just love to soak up anything that he has for me. So his Instagram handle was Big Business. And you should look him up on Instagram. If you ever have anybody on your show, that is the guy who you want to have.
Okay. Sound like he's doing it. That's good. So what is the goal and vision of your company, being that you are working to help African Americans become homeowners? So what is your goal and vision with your company?
So I'm all about ownership, right? So not only do I want to, make our communities better, but I'm about financial independence. And this is the way this this business levels the playing field for everybody. My goal actually is to be where Mr. Parker is, to not only do it, but to teach others to do what we've done. It's not a hard business to get into, but it's not a difficult business, but the day-to-day operations are hard, if that makes sense. But once you get going, it's anybody could do it, right? Anyone finding a distressed property, getting it under contract, and making things happen. It's all about leverage. You leverage your credit. You leverage the people you know. You leverage your. You can leverage your what's the word I'm looking for? You leverage your reputation, right? You just leverage. This business is all about leverage, and once you find the right leverage, you can make anything happen. And I'm talking about with no money down. I've met a few people that have bought houses literally with $0 down. You just have to find the right situation, and really, the business is about helping others. It's not really about the distressed property part of it, because everybody has a bad run-in. But if you can stop somebody from going into foreclosure, that's a good thing, right? If you can help somebody move to be with their daughter, in Houston or something like that, that's a good thing, because they don't care anything about this house. They just want to move, and you can help them do all those things. Plus, you can make some money for yourself. You can put some money in their pockets, and you could do it over and over. It's scalable. So that's what I like about the business. Okay. But my vision is to help others do exactly what we've done and do it over and over and over and over again.
Okay. So do you all have a program that helps people that might be challenged because of their credit and finances? Do you have a program that can help these people attain these goals to get to the point where they can own a home?
So yeah, that's a very good question. So the funny thing is, you don't even need credit, right? Because we specialize sometimes in rent-to-own situations, right? Okay. So the crazy thing about this business that I didn't understand when I started is, a lot of people have cash, but they don't have credit. And that's weird to me, because I figured if you didn't have credit, you wouldn't have cash. But if you have the cash to put down on a house, right? All we have to do is find a situation where someone needs to move, and we can take that cash and you can put down on this house as a down payment, and you can do what you call a lease to own. And then maybe it takes 2 or 3 years to get your credit right. And when your credit's right, you can raise your hand and say, hey, I want to own my house. And I'll say, hey, you can own your house, just like that. So it's not about credit necessarily, right? But we do have people who can, I know people. And it's all about making the right connections. We know people who can help you get your credit fixed and all of that. But we have to get out of the mindset that we need the banks. We don't necessarily need the banks all the time, right? You can find, there's too many distressed properties out there that are nice, right? That you can get into with a low money down, with a low interest rate, to get to where you're trying to go. So it's not necessarily about the banks or your credit. There's ways around that. Let's say that.
Good. Now, where are you located at now? What area of the country are you in now?
I am located in Wichita, Kansas right now. However, we do business all over the country.
Oh, okay.
We can do business all over the country.
Right. Okay. Have you been back to Philadelphia to look for any property, being that you grew up in Philadelphia?
I just left Philadelphia. I left Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. My grandmother passed.
No, sorry to hear that.
However, we have a lead on a property right now, as we speak. Situation where someone walked away from their home and it's not in foreclosure yet. We're trying to prevent it from going into foreclosure, but the timeline is very, very short. So if people can get to us, the earlier you have problems, the easier it is for us to help you. But if you're going into foreclosure in 3 weeks, that is going to be a hard timeline to meet.
Okay. So tell me, what impact has your company had on the African American community? Because I'm sensing that your audience and the people that you work with are African Americans. Half of the African Americans pick themselves up. So, what impact have you had on the African American community?
Well, in the business side, I don't think we've had much impact yet. And the reason for that is because we really kind of just got started. I would say maybe about 5-6 months ago was when we really got our feet, the wheels under our feet and moving. So I don't know how much of an impact yet. However, we get a lot of calls about people who want a place to stay or want a place to rent. So I think that we'll have a tremendous impact in the African American community, especially because sometimes these houses are really, really distressed. And what happens when the value of one house goes down, the value of the house next to it goes down, and the value of the house next to that goes down. So if we're fixing these houses up, we're giving, even if I'm not dealing with you in particular, or even touching your house, we're helping you get equity in your pocket because we brought up the value of the community. So it's not a situation where we're talking about gentrification, not at all. But we're talking about value, so that when people retire, they can have something. When they die, they can have something to leave as a legacy to their children. So we're talking about building legacies overall. Yeah.
Now, would you see yourself as being a flipper of houses?
I am the person, I find the best deal. So I'm a real estate investor that is going to find the best deal and do whatever it takes to get that deal done. I'll flip the house. I'll wholesale the house. I'll sell the house. I'll keep the house, rent to own. So it just depends on what the deal is, what the best outcome, what the best financial outcome is going to be, is where we're going to be advantageous.
Okay.
So we'll flip if the money's in the flip, we'll flip it.
You're an investor now. You're an investor. That's how investor rolls.
Yeah.
Have you worked with the churches in the community as far as letting the churches know, to let their parishioners know the type
so
of
the funny thing is that was on the that's in the business plan. However, once we got started, once we got to going, COVID and things came pretty much to a standstill. But I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Brenda Bradley. She had a great idea. Chidi Jake said something years ago, right? And he said, sometimes my vision is bigger than the ties of my church. So we have to find other streams of income for the vision of the shepherd of the house. And she had a great idea about churches buying the properties, right? And actually selling them to their membership. And everybody profits that way. So the members would have to go through a credit class. They would have to go through a credit class. They would have to go through a home buying class, a savings class. And then after they finished all those classes, they would put themselves in position to purchase one of the houses that the churches bought. And I thought that was a wonderful idea. And once things get going again, I think I'm a nudge her a little bit to pick that idea back up and let's get rolling, because there's houses everywhere in our communities that need help. And there's people who want to be homeowners. And we want to match those houses with the homeowners. And the best way that we can do it, because maybe your ties are not even $10,000 a month in a church. One house is going to get you that. So the vision can actually match what the pastor is trying to do or what the church is trying to do for the community. But stuff like that, you have to be real. The rules and the laws are real precise, but we'll get it done.
Yeah, it's not like you have a game plan, because like I said, I think the biggest thing that limits the legacy in the African American community is our inability to grow wealth. Okay, just the bottom line. Trying to figure out how do we take $1 and make it $5, and $5 and make it $10.
Right.
And unfortunately, we haven't been given the skills to do that.
Right.
We haven't been given the skills to do that. I mean, hey, I'm much older than you, and coming up during my time, what you heard your parents tell you was, go get a good education, get a job, and live happily ever after.
Right.
But I think those days have gone where
Right.
a person can go to college and get a job and live happily ever after.
Right.
Because the economy is so screwed up and everything,
Right.
the world is screwed up. So
Right.
it limits your ability uh, to develop a legacy for your future, for your kids, your grandkids, and stuff. So I think what you're doing is great. It's a really great program.
You got to have more than one stream of income. That's the first thing. You got to have more than one stream of income. And all of us have great ideas. I think the problem is not our ideas or our ability. The problem is, to be blunt, we just lazy sometimes, right? I saw a post on Facebook a few months ago, and it had these 4 things, and it said which one has to go. And one of them was video games, right? And I'm like, go away, because what good does that do us?
Right.
So you just have to surround yourself with people who have big dreams, right? I've tried to surround myself with people who are trying to do other things. Another shout out to a great friend of mine, James Russ. He's a financial advisor. He got me hooked up on a lot of stuff. Once we get this thing rolling and we start helping people make money, we got to hook them up with what to do with that money, right? So why? So I don't know how many people out there have Range Rovers, but what's the purpose of buying a Range Rover? It's just for status, right? I mean, it's not that much better than the other SUV, but it will cost you about $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 more dollars. So why am I living in a shack, but I drive a Range Rover, right? So that doesn't make sense to me, right? So we have to, not only once we start making the money, we have to teach people what to do with it once that happens, right? So I got connected with World Financial Group to make those things happen, and just to make sure that you leave a legacy and you leave a will. It's just basic things that other communities know that we're just slow to catch up on, right? We don't want to talk about death, but it's a reality, and we have to get those things ready for life. So World Financial Group, James Russell, they set things up for your life to be ready when that time comes. And I appreciate him and his team for that.
Yeah, that's right. We do tend to put our money in areas that don't give us a return on investment. Like you said, you buy a video game and you pay $95 for a video game. Who's getting that money? The creator of the video game. That's what you're getting the money. They're getting rich because you want to get a video game that you can play for 24 hours a day.
Right. And the crazy thing is, after I said that, there was a comment that said, hey, you can make $100,000 playing a video game, right? But how much more would you have made if you invested that time to be the best in a video game into something else?
That's right.
That's my 10 cents.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we do tend to put our money in material things just because of the name and it's going to give us a status. But I think your first investment should be in a house, okay?
Yeah.
It should be in a house, that's an investment. That's something, you can leave to be sold, and the funds dispersed to your family, give them something to build upon. It's just so much you can do with investing in property,
Right. In property. So if I can interject for a second, so to just help us out a little bit. So I kind of see it. If you ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book by Robert Kiyosaki, it really made it. And so a house is not an asset. It's a liability because it's something that I have to put money into. Unless that property makes you money, right? Then we have to consider that an asset, right? So property is what I'm into, and I'm in the process of purchasing a house right now, and that house, by all stretch of imagination, it's a liability, right? But my other properties, they are assets because they actually make me money. So the first investment, I believe, sir, is the investment in yourself. You have to invest in yourself. We pour so much money into other things when we should try to turn that thing around and pour into my education, pour into a skill, pour into something, a business that that brings my value up. And then once my value is up, then I can do all those other things. I can buy the house, I can buy the car, and I can have disposable income. But we have to make sure that we invest in ourselves first. Because if I don't invest in myself, who's going to invest in me?
Right, right. Very true, very true. So, do you, in your role, do you see yourself as a community leader?
Uh, I cannot see myself as anything else,
Mhm.
simply because um, a good friend of mine, actually my Bishop S.D. Smith, taught me a long time ago. Um, Leadership rises to the top. So every situation that I'm in, I can't help it, right? It,
Right.
it just happens. So when it just happens. I can't sit still and just. It's impossible for me to sit still and play the background, even though sometimes I need to.
Right.
I definitely can. I definitely can serve others. I definitely can when we have it, but it's very, very hard for me to sit back and yeah, it's just difficult. So,
Okay.
when we did, I'm not an engineering guy. I'm not a robotics guy, but I'm a people guy. So I organized the kids. I got people together and I'll let the experts do the robots, but I'm a leader. I'm a leader it's in my DNA.
Okay.
There's no other way to explain it. I don't know.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Well, we need a lot more young leaders like you in our communities. To help our communities uh, grow. Because coming out of this pandemic, we're going to have to be able to pivot into other areas.
Mm,
Okay. That's just that's just a gimme. That we're going to have to be able to pivot into other areas because I've seen a lot of businesses go out of business at this time, small businesses, especially a lot of small, in this area, the DC area, a lot
mhm,
of black owned businesses,
right,
having to close their doors.
right,
And the thing about it with us, we use our savings and our 401k, our retirement to start these businesses. But I mean, when you start a business, who knew that in March of 2020
right,
that we were faced with a worldwide pandemic that would
right. Who
close
knew?
everything down?
Right. Who knew?
And I mean, it's sad when you look at a number of people who have to give up their lifelong dream because the money's not flowing right now.
Right.
So now you got to start that whole process over
All
again,
over again.
depending on your age and how long you had planned to work to retirement to build up your retirement nest egg again.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's very rough. It's rough. It's rough. This, I mean, things have changed. So, what are your future plans for your company and ministry work? What are your plans for the future? I'm kind of guy. I'm looking down the road. I'm always planning. I
um.
know where I want to be at on this certain day. Hopefully, that's what like I say, it's planning. Plan
So.
sometimes things work out.
So prayerfully, how I see it. Who knows if the Lord is going to call me again, right? So we don't know that. Probably I will be in a situation where that will happen, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Mhm.
But right now, I'm focusing on island homes, right? I'm focusing on getting the system down, right? Getting the process down, getting the right people in place. And then once that happens, there's too many businesses out there that flow on their own. And I want my processes, my system can be scalable, it could be sellable, right? It could be all of that. And I'm just starting out and I'm trying to get there. So and my goal is 7 years. I'm giving myself 7 years to reach. I guess $1 million is not a lot of money anymore, but to me that's life changing. So I'm
Right.
giving myself 7 years. My friend said you can have it by the end of the year. I said, well, I'm
Mhm.
giving myself 7. So in 7 years,
Mhm.
I plan to be a millionaire doing some great things in the Midwest, Kansas City area, all over Philadelphia, and all those other things. But the main thing is to help young brothers. So when I was in school, it was college was the way out, and
Mhm.
because the generation before me thought that was the way, but the dynamics change all the time. Really, the way out is financial freedom, right?
Mhm.
So we have to think about other ways to create wealth, and it's not the illegal way; it's the legal way. And I think I want to catch these young men, these young women, when they graduate high school and they don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I just want
Mhm.
to grab them, right? And say, "Have
Mhm.
you ever thought about this real estate thing?" Show them how to do it. And because it's a very, very easy thing to get into, um, that's my vision. That's my vision, right? That's my
Mhm.
vision to have little little minions just running around talking about you got to use the Dan Island model. The Dan Island model was the way to go. That's the easiest route.
Right.
And yeah, so I think that's my path. But we just started. So 5 years from now or 2 years from now, I hope to get a call from my friend from the Urban Sentinel Live saying, hey, you remember us?
Yeah. Don't forget about little people.
You gotta come back on and tell us how you did this thing in the last 2 years. That's my goal. So there's another guy, Max Maxwell. If you want to learn about real estate investing and wholesaling, this guy, Max Maxwell, he's an inspiration. He literally went from homeless to being pretty much a real estate investing rock star in 2 years. And he said the difference between Greg Parker said this, and I'll be quiet. He said he knows people with college degrees. He knows people with GEDs. And the only difference between those people that make money in this game are the ones that want it. There's no difference between the GED and there's no difference with the guy with the master's degree, because 12,000 minus 6,000 will always equal 6,000. Right. And you don't have to be an expert marketer. You don't have to have a business degree. You don't have to have any of that. All you have to have is some willpower and some drive. In this game, you can get it done. So I'm on my way. And I give a shout out to those guys, Max Maxwell, Greg Parker, Peter Vexelman, Bill Hawthorne, all those guys. They just taught me so much on YouTube University. Ty, aka the Flip Man, it's all there. So if you don't want to go to school, you want to be on YouTube, stop watching videos. Start watching videos that'll teach you how to do something. Because that's what I did. I didn't get in nobody's class. I sat down and I just binged YouTube, and people are doing it every day. Now, YouTube's only going to get you so far. You have to execute. And that's the big word, execution. That's it.
Well, in my opinion, I see what you're doing as a ministry. Okay, I say this because you're helping people. Okay, having a ministry doesn't mean you had to walk around with a Bible in your hand all day long, quoting scripture.
Yeah, I get you.
Or singing a song. Okay, so what you have is a ministry because you're working with people in the community. You're trying to give people hope, and that's what working in ministry is about. Giving people hope. So in that sense, you are following your calling. Okay, now if he might call you back to the pulpit later.
Oh, I got you.
Right now,
Understood.
Your calling is where you are right now. Okay, you're in the community. You're doing some great things in the community. I've learned a lot tonight. And I'm hoping that my viewers and listeners have learned a lot too, because you got a solid business plan in place. You got the base, the foundation created, and all you got to do now is build upon that foundation. Okay?
Execution.
Yeah, execution. That's what it's all about. So everyone, we've had Daniel or Dan with us tonight, Alan, from Wichita, Kansas, talking to us tonight about what he's doing in the real estate investment field. And I know we're going to see some great things from this young man, and I'm pretty sure he'll be back on here again. I don't want him to forget us little people like me. I got $1. I might be able to turn it into $1 million one day. But he's doing something great in his community, and we got to give him his props. And this is what it's all about. So like I said earlier, Urban Sentinel Live is an offshoot of the Urban Sentinel magazine. You can find the magazine on the issue.com platform, ISSUU.com platform. It's only $4.99, so go ahead and buy a copy of it. This month, for the month of November, Regina Bell is featured in the magazine. We also have a special ministry edition coming out next week, right before Thanksgiving, because look, people, we've been through a lot this year. And I've assembled a number of ministers and lay people from around the country, and I asked them to give me a small article that people could read and be uplifted during this time, during this Thanksgiving season, during this Christmas season, because we have lost so much this year. So on the cover of that magazine, we have Shirley Murdoch for the special ministry edition. And then for our December edition, we'll call it our Christmas edition. Melba Moore will be gracing the covers of that. And then one day when this guy is building skyscrapers in Wichita, Kansas, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I'm gonna have my man Dan Allen on there, standing out front of his of the Allen Towers, okay?
Oh wow.
Philadelphia,
Okay.
Wichita, So
Right.
man, you're gonna be all right, okay? You're gonna be all right. Now, for my listeners that want to get into the heavy stuff tomorrow night, please join myself and Sharon Taffet on Real World News TV. And our topic tomorrow night will be COVID and the upcoming Biden administration. We still got a long ways to go. And that show will be our last show for the season. But we wanted to close out tomorrow night with discussing COVID-19 situation and where that's going and the upcoming Biden administration that I think a lot of us are appreciative of, that the administrations will be changing on the 20th of January of next year, So everyone, again, I want to thank y'all for watching the inaugural shows of Urban Sentinel Live. I think this is the 7th or 8th one. I want to thank all the guests that have been on the show. And I want to especially thank this young man here tonight that was recommended to me by a friend. He said, man, you got to talk to Dan. You got to talk to Dan. And I had really enjoyed talking to Dan. And man, I'll be praying for you and you're on your way, okay? So everyone, good night. Have a great Thanksgiving. Hey, look, listen to what the CDC says, okay? I know we all want to get together with Big Mama and Big Papa and have a great Thanksgiving. But look, please wear your mask. Keep those, he got a 76. I should get me one with the Washington Wizards on it. Keep the groups down to small numbers. Look at it this way. Give up Christmas and Thanksgiving so next year you can hug everybody, okay? Please don't put yourself out there over the holidays, okay? Get your own turkey and ham and go home and have a good time with your family. If it's nobody but you, your wife, or your significant other, and your children, just do that and save yourselves for next Christmas. So look, everyone, and next holiday. So everyone, have a good one. Take care, and we'll see you again the second Monday in January 2021. Take care. Be good, Dan. We'll be talking, okay?
See you later. Thank you for having me on.